All right, guys, it's been great sharing a lot of videos and just seeing how you guys think through the critical thinking process of how to fix your own swing and what you guys see versus what I see or our team of instructors see. And this was a good example. I'm going to play this through a few times here so that you can kind of see what's going on, because this is a really, really common thing, although this one is a bit more extreme. But I want to talk about understanding how to self-diagnose your swing so that you know how to fix yourself. So the issue, if we start from setup, not bad here. This guy's obviously doing, one arm stuff, lead arm stuff, learning how to use the body, and we've stacked on the arm, and then we stacked on the club. You can see some of you caught on that his left thumb is off the club, so he can get the feeling of pulling with those last three fingers in his body, which is what creates this extreme amount of lag, which of course I've been talking about for many, many years. It's very, very, very easy to create lag when you follow the rotary swing system. But there's one thing that you've got to understand. While this looks all cool with all this lag, it's the last thing on earth that I am concerned about. To master anything in life that's an athletic movement, pretty much anything in life, period, requires practice. This is obvious, right? Although many of us don't want to practice the right ways. We want to go out and just hammer balls all day and get a good suntan, but waste our time because we're certainly not helping ourselves improve. Practicing the correct way is the most important thing. Now, that should be obvious, but you can't practice if you're injured. That should also be obvious, but we don't think about things often that way. We instead look at what the ball flight did. And if the ball did something right, then we're like, oh, well, that must be right, even if it hurt. I think Jerry Kelly, an old PGA Tour guy, used to say, if he hit a golf ball and it didn't hurt, he knew he didn't do it right. And, of course, I couldn't think anything could possibly be more wrong. And, of course, if you saw Jerry Kelly's swing, you'd know why he felt that way. But the simple truth of the matter is you need to be healthy in order to continue to improve. And apart from the obvious thing of not being in pain, it allows you to practice longer and practice more productively, more efficiently. And so what I see, the first thing I care about is this. When I see this left leg, this left knee way outside of neutral, this is a death move. You're putting your joints at a place that they don't want to, that doesn't even look natural, right? You don't have to be a biomechanist to understand that stuff. But when you move that left knee, it's a subtle move. And if we go back to the top of his backswing, you can see he actually made a decent backswing. He made a nice turn, loaded up on the right side, full shoulder turn. We can see that right shoulder on the left side of his head. All of this stuff looks great. His knee only needs to move right back to that red line. But he keeps going and going and going and going, and now that's a really unstable, very weak position to be in. You can't apply any force from the glute there to stabilize that pelvis, to slow down the rotation. And so now we've got this massive, massive leg drive, and this is no bueno. So that is what I wanted you guys to see. The number one thing that you ever need to understand first when you're looking at your swing is, am I doing something that's going to put myself at risk of injury? Because if so, I guarantee you eventually it's going to happen. If you keep doing this stuff over and over again and you keep putting yourself in that position, and understanding that the golf swing is so incredibly repetitive. It's one of the most repetitive sports in the world, if not the most repetitive, because we're trying to basically repeat the exact same motion over and over again. Perhaps only running may be more repetitive than golf. We're trying to do the same movements, and because we're repeating this exact same things, and because it's such a one-sided dominant sport anyway, it's very easy to develop muscular imbalances. But when you stack those things on top of each other, where you've got not only muscular imbalances, but then you're putting your joints way outside of neutral at these points that it's not natural for them to be in, you start risking labrum tears, meniscus tears, and all kinds of things. And then you can imagine just having to take a week off, a month off, or a year off. Now, labrum tear is typically about a 9-month recovery. So just doing that, you've lost basically a whole year of productive practice by just not paying attention to doing things that prevent injury. And that's what's so critical, and that's what's so cool about rotary swing, because everything that we do, we look at injury prevention first. I don't care how well you hit the ball if eventually it's going to catch up to you. Right? And you've seen that I've predicted so many injuries on the PGA Tour, from Tiger Woods' back stuff and Rory McIlroy's rib injuries. All of those things, they're not rocket science. They're very, very obvious mechanical issues that you're going to run into. And so that's the first thing that you need to look at when you're looking at your swing. And when you see your joints outside of neutral like this, nothing else matters. You've got to fix that first.